Welcome to the Blue Coat computer-based training module, Blue Coat Web Application Firewall, OWASP Top 10 coverage. This course describes how the Blue Coat Web Application Firewall, or WAF, defends against attacks targeting the OWASP Top 10 most critical web application security flaws. The Open Web Application Security Project, or OWASP, is a worldwide organization focused on improving the security of web applications. OWASP periodically publishes the OWASP Top 10, a consensus list of the top 10 most critical web application security flaws. The goal of the Top 10 project is to raise awareness about application security by identifying some of the most critical risks facing organizations. This course describes Blue Coat's WAF coverage against the following OWASP Top 10 threats, as identified in the OWASP Top 10 2013 project. Injection, broken authentication and session management, cross-site scripting, insecure direct object references, security misconfiguration, sensitive data exposure, missing function-level access control, cross-site request forgery, using components with known vulnerabilities, and unvalidated redirects and forwards. The three most significant detection engines that are available on Blue Coat's WAF solution are Blacklists, first-generation WAF engine. Blacklists are based on an extensive database of attack signatures. Well-known attack patterns are quickly and efficiently caught. The Analytics Filter, the second-generation WAF engine. The Analytics Filter detects attack characteristics and triggers intelligently, based on the sum of the anomalies. This technology is based on attack signature matching with weights and thresholds. And the Advanced Engines, next-generation WAF engines. The advanced engines represent a paradigm shift from the traditional ways that WAF solutions attempt to protect web applications. The advanced engines enable the Blue Coat WAF to understand the nature of the content. For example, rather than trying to detect malicious patterns, they understand how the underlying systems, operating system, database, command shell, or web application, will interpret the payload. This is a significant improvement on previous generation WAF strategies, removing the need for traditional attack signatures. This is the key differentiator that allows the Blue Coat WAF to provide a unique and powerful solution that fundamentally changes how to think about web application protection. Injection flaws such as SQL, OS, and LDAP injection occur when untrusted data is sent to an interpreter as part of a command or query. The attacker's hostile data can trick the interpreter into executing unintended commands or accessing data without proper authorization. Threat agents include anyone who can send untrusted data to the system, including external users, internal users, and administrators. An attacker sends simple text-based attacks that exploit the syntax of the targeted interpreter. Almost any source of data can be an injection vector, including internal sources. Injection flaws occur when an application sends untrusted data to an interpreter. Injection flaws are very prevalent, particularly in legacy code. Injection can result in data loss or corruption, lack of accountability, or denial of access. Injection can sometimes lead to complete host takeover. Business impact includes the business value of the affected data and the platform running the interpreter. All data could be stolen, modified, or deleted. The Blue Coat WAF solution offers the following protection. The SQL Advanced Engine stops SQL injection attacks. The Cross-Site Scripting Advanced Engine stops cross-site scripting attacks. The Command Injection Advanced Engine intelligently blocks cmd.exe and bash commands. The HTML Injection Advanced Engine blocks dangerous HTML tags, attributes, and events. The Code Injection Advanced Engine blocks Java, PHP, JavaScript, and SSI language constructs. The Path Injection Advanced Engine detects obfuscated directory traversal attacks. The Blacklist engine blocks known bad attack patterns, and the Analytics Filter engine blocks a variety of attack families based on anomaly correlation. Application functions related to authentication and session management are often not implemented correctly, allowing attackers to compromise passwords, keys, or session tokens, or to exploit other implementation flaws to assume other users' identities. Threat agents include anonymous external attackers, as well as users with their own accounts who may attempt to steal accounts from others. Also consider insiders wanting to disguise their actions. The attacker uses leaks or flaws in the authentication or session management functions, for example, exposed accounts, passwords, session IDs, to impersonate users. Developers frequently build custom authentication and session management schemes, but building these correctly is hard. As a result, these custom schemes frequently have flaws in areas such as logout, password management, timeouts, remember me, secret question, account update, and so on. Finding such flaws can sometimes be difficult, as each implementation is unique. Such flaws may allow some or even all accounts to be hacked. Once successful, the attacker can do anything the victim could do. Privileged accounts are frequently targeted. The business impact includes the business value of the affected data or application functions. Also consider the business impact of public exposure of the vulnerability. The Blue Coat WAF solution offers the following protection. ProxySG authentication employs secure session management, secure storage of local realm credentials. Session IDs are not exposed in URLs. Session IDs have a timeout. Cookie signing to protect session information, SSL TLS enforcement, cache control header rewrites, and the analytics filter, anti-cross-site scripting security controls to prevent session hijacking. Cross-site scripting flaws occur whenever an application takes untrusted data and sends it to a web browser without proper validation or escaping. Cross-site scripting allows attackers to execute scripts in the victim's browser which can hijack user sessions, deface websites, or redirect the user to malicious sites. Threat agents include anyone who can send untrusted data to the system, including external users, internal users, and administrators. Attackers send text-based attack scripts that exploit the interpreter in the browser. Almost any source of data can be an attack vector, including internal sources such as data from the database. Cross-site scripting is the most prevalent web application security flaw. These flaws occur when an application includes user-supplied data in a page sent to the browser without properly validating or escaping that content. There are two different types of cross-site scripting flaws, stored and reflected, and each of these can occur on the server or on the client. Detection of most server cross-site scripting flaws is fairly easy via testing or code analysis. Client cross-site scripting is very difficult to identify. Attackers can execute scripts in a victim's browser to hijack user sessions, deface websites, insert hostile content, redirect users, hijack the user's browser using malware, and so on. The business impact includes the business value of the affected system and all the data it processes, as well as the impact of public exposure of the vulnerability. The Blue Coat WAF solution includes the following protection. The Blacklist, Analytics Filter, and Cross-Site Scripting Advanced Engine provide complementary protection against cross-site scripting attacks. Customizable normalization engines thwart evasion techniques. Low false positive rate. And the content security policy virtually eliminates cross-site scripting attack vectors for supported browsers. A direct object reference occurs when a developer exposes a reference to an internal implementation object, such as a file, directory, or database key. Without an access control check or other protection, attackers can manipulate these references to access unauthorized data. Regarding threat agents, consider the types of users of your system. Do any users have only partial access to certain types of system data? Attack vectors include attackers who are authorized system users who simply change a parameter value that directly refers to a system object to another object the user is not authorized for. Is access granted? Applications frequently use the actual name or key of an object when generating web pages. Applications don't always verify the user is authorized for the target object. This results in an insecure direct object reference flaw. Testers can easily manipulate parameter values to detect such flaws. Code analysis quickly shows whether authorization is properly verified. Such flaws can compromise all the data that can be referenced by the parameter. Unless object references are unpredictable, it's easy for an attacker to access all available data of that type. Business impacts can include the business value of the exposed data, as well as the business impact of public exposure of the vulnerability. The Blue Coat WAF solution offers the following protection. ProxySG role-based access controls protect against horizontal authorization attacks and enforce authorization of direct object references based on user or group membership. You can leverage ProxySG CPL rules to patch web application object reference issues, as well as to restrict or block access to applications, pages, services, or resources. The command, code, and path injection advanced engines prevent accessing dangerous web server functionality. Good security requires having a secure configuration defined and deployed for the application, frameworks, application server, web server, database server, and platform. Secure settings should be defined, implemented, and maintained, as defaults are often insecure. Additionally, software should be kept up to date. As threat agents, consider anonymous external attackers as well as users with their own accounts that may attempt to compromise the system. Also consider insiders wanting to disguise their actions. Attackers access default accounts, unused pages, unpatched flaws, unprotected files and directories, and so on, to gain unauthorized access to or knowledge of the system. Security misconfiguration can happen at any level of an application stack, including the platform, web server, application server, database, framework, and custom code. Developers and system administrators need to work together to ensure that the entire stack is configured properly. Automated scanners are useful for detecting missing patches, misconfigurations, use of default accounts, unnecessary services, and so on. The system could be completely compromised without you knowing it. All of your data could be stolen or modified slowly over time. Recovery costs could be expensive. The Blue Coat WAF solution offers the following protection. For SSL misconfiguration, the ability to enforce SSL TLS on all pages and services, session cookie rewrites, cryptographic cipher control to prevent weak algorithms. For secure settings, restrict ports and services, no default account passwords, security-hardened special purpose build OS. Finally, advanced engines can help mitigate insecure layers. Command injection, path injection engines for the OS, HTML injection, path injection, JSON engines for the web application server, and the SQL injection engine for the database. Many web applications do not properly protect sensitive data such as credit cards, tax IDs, and authentication credentials. Attackers may steal or modify such weakly protected data to conduct credit card fraud, identity theft, or other crimes. Sensitive data deserves extra protection, such as encryption at rest or in transit, as well as special precautions when exchanged with the browser. As threat agents, consider who can gain access to your sensitive data and any backups of that data. This includes the data at rest, in transit, and even in your customers' browsers. Include both external and internal threats. Attackers typically don't break crypto directly. They break something else, such as steal keys, do man-in-the-middle attacks, or steal clear text data off the server while in transit or from the user's browser. The most common flaw is simply not encrypting sensitive data. When crypto is employed, weak key generation and management and weak algorithm usage is common, particularly weak password hashing techniques. Browser weaknesses are very common and easy to detect, but hard to exploit on a large scale. External attackers have difficulty detecting server-side flaws due to limited access, and they are also usually hard to exploit. Technical impacts can be severe. Failure frequently compromises all data that should have been protected. Typically, this information includes sensitive data such as health records, credentials, personal data, credit cards, and so on. As a business impact, consider the business value of the lost data and impact to your reputation. And what is your legal liability if this data is exposed? The Blue Coat WAF solution offers the following protection. Cookie signing prevents cookie manipulation and can force secure and HTTP-only cookie attributes. The ability to force HTTPS, which protects against session sidejacking. Cryptographic cipher control, which protects against downgrade attacks. The ProxySG controls include secure storage of sensitive configuration information and strong crypto algorithms, encryption, and hashing. Most web applications verify function-level access rights before making that functionality visible in the UI. However, applications need to perform the same access control checks on the server when each function is accessed. If requests are not verified, attackers will be able to forge requests to access functionality without proper authorization. Threat agents include anyone with network access that can send your application a request. An attacker, who is an authorized system user, might simply change the URL or a parameter to a privileged function. Is access granted? Anonymous users might also access private functions that aren't protected. Applications do not always protect applications functions properly. Sometimes function-level protection is managed via configuration, and the system is misconfigured. Sometimes developers must include the proper code checks, and they forget. Detecting such flaws is easy. The hardest part is identifying which pages, URLs, or functions exist to attack. Such flaws allow attackers to access unauthorized functionality. Administrative functions are key targets for this type of attack. As a business impact, consider the business value of the exposed functions and the data they process, as well as the impact to your reputation if this vulnerability became public. The Blue Coat WAF solution offers the following protection: ProxySG access controls with native authentication, secure authentication options, strict authentication enforcement configurable by sites or pages, the ability to set up default deny access controls, and granular page and flow controls available via CPL. A cross-site request forgery attack forces a logged-on victim's browser to send a forged HTTP request, including the victim's session cookie and any other automatically included authentication information, to a vulnerable web application. This allows the attacker to force the victim's browser to generate requests the vulnerable application thinks are legitimate requests from the victim. As threat agents, consider anyone who can load content into your users' browsers and thus force them to submit a request to your website. Any website or other HTML feed that your users access could do this. An attacker might create forged HTTP requests and trick a victim into submitting them via image tags, cross-site scripting, or numerous other techniques. If the user is authenticated, the attack succeeds. Cross-site request forgery takes advantage of the fact that most web apps allow attackers to predict all the details of a particular action. Because browsers send credentials such as session cookies automatically, attackers can create malicious web pages which generate forged requests that are indistinguishable from legitimate ones. Detection of cross-site request forgery flaws is fairly easy via penetration testing or code analysis. Attackers can trick victims into performing any state-changing operation the victim is authorized to perform, for example, updating account details, making purchases, log out, or even log in. As a business impact, consider the business value of the affected data or application functions, and imagine not being sure whether users intended to take these actions. The Blue Coat WAF solution offers the following protection: ProxySG policy controls include the ability to require an anti-cross-site request forgery component such as referrer header, token, and origin header. The flexibility to configure entry points that do not require cross-site request forgery controls. Advanced engines and analytic filter detect cross-site scripting attacks and may bypass a referrer check. Components such as libraries, frameworks, and other software modules almost always run with full privileges. If a vulnerable component is exploited, such an attack can facilitate serious data loss or server takeover. Applications using components with known vulnerabilities may undermine application defenses and enable a range of possible attacks and impacts. Some vulnerable components, for example framework libraries, can be identified and exploited with automated tools, expanding the threat agent pool beyond targeted attackers to include chaotic actors. Attackers identify a weak component through scanning or manual analysis. The exploit is customized as needed and the attack is executed. Virtually every application has these issues because most development teams don't focus on ensuring that their components and libraries are up to date. In many cases, the developers don't even know all the components they are using, never mind their versions. Component dependencies make things even worse. The full range of weaknesses is possible, including injection, broken access control, cross-site scripting, and so on. The impact could range from minimal to complete host takeover and data compromise. As a business impact, consider what each vulnerability might mean for the business controlled by the affected application. It could be trivial, or it could mean complete compromise. The Blue Coat WAF solution offers the following protection. The ProxySG can be used to deploy virtual patches to protect vulnerable server components. The ProxySG itself uses a hardened, secure OS. Patches are provided quickly to fix vulnerabilities. In terms of new vulnerabilities, CPL allows for rapid, customized responses to zero-day threats, and the protection against exploitation techniques provided by advanced engines, as well as the blacklist and analytics filter, implicitly helps mitigate the risk from vulnerable components. Web applications frequently redirect and forward users to other pages and websites, and use untrusted data to determine the destination pages. Without proper validation, attackers can redirect victims to phishing or malware sites, or use forwards to access unauthorized pages. As a threat agent, consider anyone who can trick your users into submitting a request to your website. Any website or other HTML feed that your users use could do this. Attackers link to an unvalidated redirect and trick victims into clicking it. Victims are more likely to click on it since the link is to a valid site. Attackers target unsafe forwards to bypass security checks. Applications frequently redirect users to other pages or use internal forwards in a similar manner. Sometimes the target page is specified in an unvalidated parameter, allowing attackers to choose the destination page. Detecting unchecked redirects is easy. You can look for redirects where you can see the full URL. Unchecked forwards are harder because they target internal pages. Such redirects may attempt to install malware or trick victims into disclosing passwords or other sensitive information. Unsafe forwards may allow access control bypass. As a business impact, consider the business value of retaining your users' trust. What if they get owned by malware, or if attackers can access internal-only functions? The Blue Coat WAF solution offers the following protection. URL redirection to untrusted site, open redirect. The ProxySG detects 3 redirects and can deny or allow. Configuration support to define whitelist valid redirect resources and blacklist known bad redirects. Thank you for watching. This concludes the computer-based training Blue Coat Web Application Firewall, OWASP Top 10 coverage. For more information, visit the following Blue Coat resources: the knowledge base available at bto.bluecoat.com, and the customer discussion forums available at forums.bluecoat.com. For additional questions or comments regarding this training module, contact us at training.books@bluecoat.com.